you. I am Prisca Nwokorie, reaching out to you in a moment with Sister Prisca. Today, I delight to tell you a story about MMASINACHI. Beauty is from God. Just listen to this story attentively and drop your comments on the comment section to tell me what you feel about this story. It is just a wonderful story that you wouldn't want to miss a bit of it. Just listen. Invite your friends as we begin the story. MMASINACHI, Mma, as the village will later call her, entered the world with a body that seemed to question her name, beauty from God. In amazing, names were never casual. They were prayers, warnings, and sometimes quiet arguments with destiny. So when people heard the name, they exchanged glances. Some whispered that it was a mother's attempt to soften fate. Others believed Akudia had chosen it in defiance, insisting that her daughter's worth would not be measured by the symmetry of her limbs. She was the only girl and the fourth child. She was the only girl of her parents, arriving long after her parents had accepted that their home would echo only with voices of sons. Akudia herself was a woman who rarely bowed to circumstance. A formidable trader, she moved through amazing markets with the certainty of someone who understood both people and profits. Her tongue was sharp, her discipline unbending, and her presence strong enough to steady quarrels before they began. For years, she led a women's association with such authority that eventually stepped aside, worried that people might begin to suspect she held some hidden power. In truth, she had simply inherited her mother's strength. Her mother, who in the days of army vacant market had been spoken of with a kind of reverence. Mmar's coming unsettled the quiet rhythm of the household. Nearly a decade had passed since Akudia and Amadi had imagined themselves as new parents. Their sons were growing into their own stubbornness, their own dreams. The couple had begun to speak of rest, of a future where their hands would no longer be tied by the demands of infancy. So when Akudia woke one morning, too weak to rise, too nauseous to prepare for the markets, Amadi felt a familiar fear for the market. A familiar fear stirred in him. His wife of 22 years never took to her bed unless a child was on the way. He touched her neck, felt the heat beneath her skin, and something inside him tightened. Akon, he murmured, you are burning with fever. You haven't moved since dawn. Let me call Okoro before this becomes something worse. She only nodded, her breath short. The morning light filtered through raffia glints, casting thin lines across the face. He stood still, watching her chest, move as if he thought of his two late wives who died childless within 2 years of marriage in a car accident returning from a festival. Even after his third wife, Akudia, who was now his first surviving wife, gave him four sons, after the memory of loss. It lived inside him like a shadow that refused to leave. He hurried out of the compound, calling for help. But it was not Okoro who arrived. It was Mweke, the renowned herbalist, whose remedies were said to cure everything except a curse from the gods. She entered the hut with the quiet confidence of a woman who has seen life in all its forms. Her wrapper was tied firmly around her waist, her hair wrapped in a faded cloth, her eyes sharp and steady. My daughter, stand up, she said. Let me look at you. Akudia struggled to her feet. Mbeke examined her eyes, lifting each eyelid with practiced fingers. A flicker crossed her face. Surprise, then certainty. She turned to Amadi. Let her speak outside. The air outside was cold, carrying the scent of early morning smoke from neighboring compounds. Amadi followed her, his heart pounding. Everyone, he said, whatever you have seen, speak it. I have known sorrow before. Nothing can frighten me more than what I have already buried. It is good news, she replied. Your wife is pregnant, but she also had malaria. And if you don't treat it quickly, it may harm the child. Amadi stared at her, stunned. Pregnant? How? We have not expected a child in years. My last son will soon be 10. And Akudia, she had passed the age. Do you doubt me? Her voice sharpened. Have I ever spoken falsely about women and childbirth in this village? No, he said quietly, but his truth, but this truth is heavy. It needs time to settle. Then later speak with your wife. Inside, the heart felt smaller, as though the words themselves were listening. Akudia's eyes widened as the words fell from Ombeke's lips. Pregnant? How can that be? I hardly meet my husband. My body has stopped its monthly signs. Tell me, Mbeke insisted, when last did Amadi touch you? Akudia hesitated. Shame tightened her throat. About 5 months ago, he came home drunk. I tried to leave the room, but he beat me until I stayed. I never imagined that night would lead to this. Silence settled over the room, heavy and unkind. My dear, Mbeke said gently, your pregnancy is 5 months alone. Age has changed your body. That is why you do not notice. But the malaria must be treated immediately. I would gather herbs that will heal you without harming the child. Akudia covered her face. Where will I begin? I am no longer strong. What of my business? How will I manage this burden again? You will begin today, Mbeke replied. Before evening, I will return with the herbs. Amadi, my fee is 10 naira. It will be ready, he said. As she stepped out of the compound, the old cock, kept for 3 years and sped through many festivals, crowed loudly. It was unusual, almost deliberate. The sound cut through the air like a sign. Mbeke paused, turned, and studied the bird. This cock, she said slowly, must be used to prepare the first pepper soup your wife will eat after childbirth. The gods preserve it for this purpose. The child she carries is not ordinary. She left before either of them could speak. True to her word, she returned at sunset with bundles of herbs, accompanied by her daughter Nwadioto. The sky was streaked with orange, the kind of evening that made the village look worse than gold. People often whispered about the mysteries surrounding Nwoko's lineage, how her mother had conceived her without a husband, and how she herself has conceived Nwadioto in the same manner. The rumors swelled until a drunkard man, Nwokorie, boasted in a market bar that he had dragged her under the soothe of treatment and taken advantage of her. It was likely the same happened to her mother. When she heard the rumor, something inside her collapsed. She said nothing, and she couldn't remember nothing about the details clearly, only that Nwokorie had often brought her herbs when she fell ill. She knew the herbs she needed, but tradition forbade a herbalist from treating herself, and so she had trusted him. Now, as she stood in her mother's compound, handing the herbs to Akudia, there was a quiet strength in her eyes, a strength born from surviving what she could not fully name. And so began the story of MMASINACHI, the child who arrived unbidden, wrapped in mystery, and destined to alter the rhythms of every life around her. It took everybody in the village by surprise when Akudia delivered her baby after 10 years, and within a period that could best be described as the period of non-childbirth. But any woman her age, when she was delivered of the baby, Akudia could not bear the sight of the baby because it looked very ugly. No child born in her lineage has ever had her looks. The baby had bloated cheeks, swollen eyes, big stomach, flat nose, and bow legs. The nurses shuddered at such a creature. Akudia wept on seeing the baby. Her mother, Ugwumani, warned her not to weep, but to muster the courage and embrace the innocent child, no matter the circumstances. Akudia, take care of your baby. Whatever the situation is, just take care of your baby. God created every human being with unique features. Ugumani told Akudia, but Mama, what kind of a baby has God given to me at this time? I never planned having any baby, and I wondered why God has to give me this type of baby at this time. We are a family of very beautiful and handsome people, and I wonder where this came from. Akudia lamented. Will you shut up your mouth? How dare you question God? Take up your responsibility by taking care of your baby. Don't you ever question God again. Mama, I have heard you. What even marvels me is that this baby is a woman, and I wonder how she would fit into the society. Many people will begin to question her origin. Our people like creating mountains out of molehills. Don't worry about what people will say. This is your first and only female child. You must take care of her, and that must start now. Akudia began to change her perception of that child, and as if the baby was aware of the problem created by its nature, it refused to cry, but just worked as if it could see them talking about her unfortunate nature. It couldn't even cry for breast milk or water. It was strange because babies are always in need of food and water. She was slightly strange. Akudia thought of what could be the unfortunate reaction of Agnes, her co-wife, on sighting the baby. Agnes was known for making a caricature of everything or anybody that seemed odd around her. She would give any child any name according to her immediate perception of that child. About 2 months ago, she annoyed her fellow market woman, Egondo, when she jokingly described the woman's son as a child whose face resembled that of a dog called Bingo. The woman could not bear the damaging insults in that caricature statement, and a fight ensued between them. Agnes, why should you describe a human being as a dog? Asked Madame Ijama, who was a living witness to the fight. I was only joking about it. I never knew it would annoy Egondo, my friend. But joke apart, if you look at the boy's face thoroughly, you will surely confirm my statements. Everybody at the scene burst into laughter. But Egondo, why was she still furious? She gave Agnes a dirty slap. The fight reignited again, and this time it was too dirty as both women tore their wrappers into shreds. The story of the fight gone to the chairperson of Women's League, who fined Agnes 200 naira, a basket of garden egg, 2 crates of egg, and 2 crates of mineral for causing an unnecessary fight through her unceased mockery of an innocent child. Agnes was the second wife of Amadi. It was a tradition that a man could marry a second wife if the first wife could not give birth to a male child, or if the woman was barren. But in this case, Akudia gave her husband 4 boys, and everyone was angry when Amadi took Agnes into his house as a second wife. The story had it that Amadi was the bravest hunter who killed the bear that destroyed crops in many farmlands in Omesi village for many years. The loss was so much that the king had to make an open promise that whoever would kill the bear would marry his last daughter, Agnes. Amadi wasn't interested in the king's daughters as a wife when he ventured into killing the bear. The king's promise is attractive because his last daughter is the most beautiful of his daughters. It was even rumored that the king's concubine from Morocco gave birth to her. Ndu, one of the hunters, added. I was even told that she attended the teachers training college in Abo and that she could speak English more than English people. Okechi the hunter from Umobo added. The truth is that we have lost so much to the bear to extent that our women have refused to go to the farm as frequently as they could. They called it a wasted effort since they work their eyes out only for the bear to destroy all the farm proceeds. My interest is to kill the bear and rescue our people from these onslaughts. If I kill the bear and the king insists that I should take his daughter, I will not oblige because my one and only Akudia, whose name means the wealth of her husband, is enough for me because she is my wealth in all ways. Amadi Brat. Anyway, I know you are not a smart hunter like many of us. You hardly even kill a squirrel these days, let alone kill a bear. So go home and cuddle your kudia and leave us to hunt down the evil bear. Ndo was sarcastic, but Amadi ignored him. Amadi, don't mind Ndo. If you kill the bear and the king insists you take his daughter, then take her or bring her to me because I am ready to take her in on your behalf. Okechi added, and it followed by a roaring laughter from the hunters and some other people in the bar who were ever dropping. The sky was gloomy because it was exactly in the heart of the rainy season. The hunters gathered at the palace of the king Ikere, the traditional ruler of Fume's autonomous kingdom. Early that morning, the town crier, Okute, on the instruction of the king, had gone round the four kindreds that made up Ubense, beating the gong and announcing that the king needed the attention of every hunter at his palace for an emergency meeting. It wasn't long before the palace got filled with many hunters, both young and old men. The traditional kola nut, which often preceded every meeting at the palace, was ignored because the situation at hand called for abnormal approach. However, Okechukwu, the most senior palace guard, served every hunter with shots of traditional gin called akamere, which was produced by refining the palm wine. They all drank off the coldness of the morning with the gin as they waited the entry of the king. Immediately, the king sat on his throne. He was greeted with, "May the king live long," by the hunters, and he never wasted time in addressing the hunters on the matter at hand. "The great hunters of Umese, I greet you all," the king began. "May you live long, our king," they responded. Just yesterday, many women trooped into the palace, lamenting about the destruction of their farm crops by a giant bear. They claimed that the bear had been seen severally by many farmers, but nobody has been able to kill it because they claim it looked wild and wicked. Many of you here are aware that our community has been known for bravery and daring behaviors. Don't forget easily that this kingdom has had story and history of good madmen who never repaid. Have you forgotten Ibaba, the hunter who killed lion with his spear? What about Ujono, who tracked an elephant and killed it before it could destroy our village? Don't forget Onyemere, the hunter who killed a monstrous bush pig with his spear. We have too many brave hunters from history who achieved so much for our community in the time past. My question now is, what has gone wrong with our bravery? How could you, how could your wives complain about the destruction of their farm crops by a mere bear and none of you could take it up and destroy the beast. I have been shocked because the complaints have been coming to me for over 20 market weeks, and you are all unconcerned, or should I say relaxed. Many of you have been bringing their games to me to buy, me every morning, and I wondered why I have not been given the means of bread to buy. He paused to watch their countenances. Some looked sober, while some looked remorseful, but majority of them looked angry. The brave hunters of humanism, you must kill this bear. I am concerned, I am worried that one day we will begin losing our lives, the lives of people to the bear, because after eating the cross, it will come for the flesh of our people. I have 3 daughters, and 2 of them have married. My last daughter will be given to the bravest hunter among you, and who would kill the bear. She was with me when the throng of village women came lamenting about their loss in the farm. She has agreed to marry the bravest hunter, even as the second wife provided she is giving her support as a princess in the kingdom. He paused again and watched their faces. Many of them smiled, while many others kept mute. I need your responses first before the day breaks into sunrise. May our King live long, began Ndo. You have spoken well, but the issue of giving your daughter to the hunter who would kill the bear is not necessary. Majority of us here are happily married with 3 or 4 wives, and we may not have the need for any other wife. Or let me speak for myself, I may not need an additional wife. Yes, the bear has been causing havoc, and we have been tracking it to kill it. But it often ran into the deepest part of the evil forest called Dindin to hide, and that makes it impossible for us to penetrate with ease. Our ancestors wondered about the dangers of hunting in the evil forest, and some of us here believe that the bear could be the spirit from the forest. I am not saying that it should not be able to be killed, but we would continue to try until we kill it. He sat down. May our King live long, Amadi began. I am already disappointed with you, Ndo. Just I am really disappointed with what you just said about the bear being a spirit from Dindin. Spirits don't show their physical self, rather, they are the spirits unseen. Again, the evil forest had been seen in those days as a place where twins were thrown into, where children that were born with tooth were thrown into, where children that began growing teeth from upper teeth ridge were thrown into. We have lost up that culture with the coming of Christianity in our land. He turned to the king. Even the king before you, your father personally bankrolled the building of the Catholic Church at the Market Square because he believed so much in Christianity, and many of us here believe in it too. Is it not time we were into the forest and there the bee? Do we reject the existence of the evil forest and at the same time give credence to its existence. By my last count, the last children thrown into the forest had been over 10 decades, and we are still here talking about its existence. Our king, I would suggest that we go into the forest and hunt down the bear in order to bring peace to our land. On the issue of your daughter being the prize for the game, I wouldn't tell you not to motivate us, but you must be sure that it won't bring any rancor among us. He sat down. Everywhere became quiet. One could even hear the pounding of the hearts of the hunters. Nobody could speak for them because Samadhi had burnt the fear that had been in the minds of the people. The king looked forlorn. How could he not to have thought about removing the evil that had tagged to such a large expanse of land because of the sins of the past, sins committed out of ignorance to the laws of creation? Yes, the forest is long overdue for clearing, the king said. Let me hear from any other person here before we conclude. May our king live long, began Uche, the youngest of the hunters. I would like to appreciate my elder brother, Amadi, for making a very wonderful suggestion, but my fear is that the forest is very thick and wide. We might see snakes that are capable of swallowing 20 people and lions that could kill thousands of people. Dindin is now a forest reserve recognized by the Ministry of Forestry. I was even told the last time I went there that the government is also planning to turn that place into a game reserve because they have found out that there are many rare wild animals living there. They also plan to have a zoo in it so that many people could come there, pay a little money, and view the animals in the cages. It will bring development to our place, but it is also has its own problem. One of the problems is the issue of the wild bear we are having. The government will profit the killing will prohibit the killing of any animal from the reserve. It might attract prison sentence if admitted. I would suggest that we stop any plans of going into the forest and lay siege on the white bear. It comes only to destroy the crops and could kill it when we sight it. It's our duty to do the needful for our people. As for your daughter, I am highly interested because I am not even married. I will try to kill the bear, and by God's grace, she will be my princess and wife. He sat down, and for the first time, the king and hunters smiled. Thank you, Uche. Why haven't you told me about the plans of the government to take over Dindin? Because you seem to know much about the plans of the government. The king asked Uche. My king, I didn't want to tell you what hasn't been verified because the government by right should tell the community officially about any plans they have for every community. I thought that it would be wise if you hear from them instead of hearsay from me. I only brought it up to avoid us making mistakes. Uche sat down quietly. My people, we already had solutions from the different suggestions brought forward here. Let's take whatever Uche told us as a mere rumor until the government comes to us, but the rumor should also act as a guide to us. We may not venture to clear the forest, rather, we would aim at killing the white bear. Let me leave it to you, our brave hunters, to plan and carry out the killing of the bear. I wish to hear good news in the next market days. Let me allow you to go home and do your best for your people. The king stood up and walked back into the harem where came out from. The sun was already rearing out its head when the hunters departed home. Nobody spoke to anyone. They all had their minds like ghost-skin birds as each of them contemplated mischievously on how to kill the bear and win the princess as the prize from the king. Amadi never intended going for hunting the next morning, so he left his house with his gun. Without his gun, he just felt emerged because he wanted to cut some fresh corn from the farm. He went in the company of his second son, Obinna. His plan was to pluck the corn and give them to Obinna to bring home while he joined the meeting of the Hunter's League, which was scheduled to take place that morning at the back of Afuku Market. That day was Afuku Market Day, and the hunters often meet there when important matters concerning their welfare were to be discussed. Obinna learned how to repair bicycle, and he was acclaimed to be the best in the village. He went to work very early, except on the days his father sought his assistance to the farm. Among all his sons, Obinna was the only child Amadi loved more. He claimed that right from the time he was born, that he got attached to him, and that anything he sent him on an errand, that he never complained to carry them out, unlike his elder brother, Uchenna. It took them less than 1 hour to get to the farm. When Amadi saw on the farm made him shudder, and even his son, Uchenna, could not understand why the entire farm crop were raised down. The corn stalks lay flat, even as the corn were demolished by unknown person. While Amadi and Obinna were ruminating on what to do, they heard a noise at the close farm. The noise sounded like that of a large animal. Obinna, stay where you are. Let me move inside to find out what's making the noise. As a hunter, I know the noise from the animals, and I know this must be from an animal. He collected his machete and began moving into the adjacent farm where the noise was coming from. Ma'am, please be careful. You know that you are not with your gun. I will not just stand here. I will follow you at a closer distance in case you need my help. Obinna responded in a quiet tone. Amadi was already moving and might not have heard what Obinna said. He observed as he got closer that the animal was a very large one, almost the size of an elephant. He moved carefully but slowly and saw the large bear that had been destroying the people's farm for over a year now. He thought of what could be done immediately to kill the animal, but couldn't immediately. So he walked back to Obinna to tell him what he saw and sought his advice. Obinna wasn't a hunter, but he was skilled in the repair of bicycles and could advise on what could puncture a tire. Amadi compared the bear to an inflated tire. Obinna advised his father to sharpen a long stick and climb a tall tree, and from there he could just jump down with speed and pierce the sharp stick into the head of the bear, thereby shattering the brain. Amadi realized that that was the option since he hadn't his gun. But his only challenge was how to easily climb the tree. He was already having symptoms of romanticism, which has restricted his movement lately. While contemplating what to do, Obinna tapped him. Nna, I know it will be difficult for you to climb the tree. I am aware that Ezenwani treated you of leg pains last week, so you can't climb the tree now. Allow me to climb up and jump there to speed and to kill the animal. Amadi was shocked at Obinna. Allowing Obinna to do that was like a suicide mission. My son, don't try it. You are not a hunter, and this animal is very large and smart. Many hunters even fear it, let alone you. He tried discouraging Obinna. Nna, don't worry, I won't die. It will be an honor that the son of a great hunter killed the large bear. Just stay closer and watch me kill the animal. Have you forgotten that I have always been the goalkeeper in the community football team? So I can jump and fly and somersault. Now give me the sharpened stick. Let me go and kill it before it runs back into the evil forest. I am sure by now it would have sensed that some human beings might be around here. Let me go. Without waiting for his father's response, he grabbed the long stick from Amadi and rushed into the farm. By this time, the morning was already far gone, as the sun had begun to rise from the east. Obinna tiptoed towards the Iroko tree, close to the place that the bear stood quietly. He began climbing the tree slightly, while Amadi watched from a distance. He was scared that his son might break a branch and fall, but his fear became allayed when he saw that it didn't take Obinna much difficulty in reaching the peak of the tree. As if the bear sensed that something was amiss, it began to retreat from the farm, but it was already too late as Obinna fled from the height of the tree and pierced the sharp stick directly into the skull of the bear. The bear fell and began wriggling on the ground. Obinna at that point somersaulted towards a far distance to watch the bear fight for his own life. Amadi was shocked that his son could kill such a large animal. He rushed towards the animal and began using his machete to cut the animal and even pierce its eyes. He ensured that the animal was properly decapitated before he could call his son to move closer to him. Obinna wasn't close to him quietly. My son, you are truly brave. That's why I call you Obinna, the heart of his father, because you took after me in many ways. You are strong, bold, and hardworking like me. You have removed reproach from this, our community. I know, but we need to inform the villagers because this bear had been a terror to this village. Our king will be happy, and our women will resume their farming without fear again. Obinna killed the bear that the king. Obinna was happy that Amadi knew that since Obinna killed the bear, that the king might give him his daughter to marry. Obinna was a minor, so he might tell his son to inform people that his father, Amadi, killed the bear. Obinna, my son, never you tell people that you killed the bear. Now, why should I hide the truth? Yes, you killed it, but I am your father. I am a hunter. It will bring glory and elevation to me among my fellow hunters. The king will give me some honor, and it will be for all our family. Nna, I understand you now. No problem. You are the only one who killed the bear. Thank you, my son. Make sure this agreement remains between us only. Don't tell your mother or your siblings that you were the one who killed it. Did you hear me? I have heard you, and so shall it remain. Both of them left the farm to the house. Before long, the news spread about the village that Amadi the hunter had killed the bear. Many people rushed to his house to show appreciation, while the king summoned him to confirm the truth. About 30 able-bodied men were sent to the scene to bring the dead animal to the village square. It wasn't long when the town crier went round to inform the villagers who gathered at the square that the whole place became filled with people, especially women who began to sing songs of joy and praise the Amadi's bravery at killing the bear. When the king arrived at the venue, he was elected to see the dead animal. He instructed that the meat from the animal be shared to every household, but that the head should be given to Amadi. It was the tradition of the people that whoever killed an animal must be given the head. He would skin the animal off the head and keep the skull, which he would display inside his sopi for people to see and remain brave exploits. It wasn't more than 3 weeks after the meat of the animal was shared that the king, in keeping his promise, handed his last daughter, Agnes, to Amadi as his second wife. The occasion was attended by all the chiefs, the Nzes, the Ozos, and the women's group. Everybody was happy except Akudia, who never saw any reason why her husband should accept the king's gift without considering her feelings. She made up her mind not to kill her husband's joy, but to support. After all, she had already had 4 boys for him. Akudia had no option but to accept Mma despite her ugly nature. In Umaise, every woman was abhorred from mocking her baby, no matter the physical nature of the baby, even if the child came out deformed. Although there were cases not acceptable, by tradition. Any baby that was born with a tooth was seen as an abomination, and the baby must be regarded as an evil child. But Tamar's case wasn't like that. She was born different by not resembling her parents. Her ugly nature was occasioned by circumstances beyond the understanding of her parents. Agnes, the princess, who was won by Amadi, had just a baby girl before the arrival of Mma. Being a woman who enjoyed mocking people, Mma wasn't spared. On the day that Akudia returned with Mma from Ume's maternity home, she told her husband to restrict Agnes from visiting them. Amadi understood the issues and immediately met Agnes not to visit Akudia and her baby because the doctor instructed that she would be left alone. Agnes was shocked at that instruction because Akudia was a senior wife and might need her assistance in taking care of the baby. But Amadi, I don't see anything wrong in my visiting Akudia. Anyway, if you insist, I will wait till it's time to see her and the baby. Agnes, my princess, never mind. I will tell you when to visit them. You know that Akudia has just come of age because the arrival of the baby. So she needs rest and care because people can visit them. No problem, I will wait. Agnes wasn't disturbed in any way. Agnes understood when her husband meant that she would not visit Akodia. She saw it as a way of minding her business. She had often seen Akodia as a senior wife who hated her coming into Amadi's family. She discovered that Akodia avoided her and would ignore her when family matters were brought up. As a princess, she never depended on Amadi for her needs. Ezekere loved her more than all his children to the extent that he kept giving her monthly allowance even as a married woman. She behaved like a spoiled child because she had everything she desired. Amadi wasn't happy because he wasn't really in control of Agnes. He did things that her way, but she still received some respect for Amadi. Many ways would relocate back to to the palace and would only leave when Eze Ikere began shouting and reminding her that she belonged to another man whom he had betrothed her to. Many women in the community never liked Agnes. Some saw her as a spoilt daughter of the king, while some others described her as a mannerless woman who got spoiled by too much education. In the whole of Umezi, she's too different as the most educated female. Many of those who felt that she relished in caricature understood that it was as a result of too much education because she perceived things differently from the way others saw it. It was even a shameless sin the day she fought a woman in the marketplace. The king wasn't happy that a princess could stoop so low to fight a fellow woman in the public. He called her and warned her never to repeat that again. Told the king that she never wanted to insult her. She only expressed her own thoughts. She never meant to sound insulting or abusive, but many people felt that she did what she did deliberately to mock people around her. After a month, Amadi and Agudia agreed that Agnes and the other village women could visit them. Agudia did, did all she could to see that the man looked a bit fine, but her ugly face could not be hidden from the covering baby clothes. Agnes, on sighting the baby, shuddered. She wondered how an offspring of Amadi could look so ugly with swollen eyes and bloated cheeks. For the first time, she did her daughter and admired the baby. Akudia concentrated on looking at the reaction of Agnes on seeing her baby. But unlike the Agnes she knew, she was this time passionate and grateful that Akudia and her baby were healthy and strong. Senior wife, I am happy that you and our baby are strong. It's only the handiwork of God. Agnes, it can only be called we are strong and doing well. One would have thought that a woman your age can never give birth easily. Now you have destroyed that theory. In my educational training, we were taught that a woman in her menopause would never get impregnated, but still, anyway, God is the greatest in all things. After all, Sarah in the Bible took him when she was old. Senior wife, I thank God for you and our baby. Anything you want me to do for you, please don't hesitate to call me. Thank you, my princess. I want you to help me get some fish from the market to prepare my usual pepper soup. I am sure Amadi will give you some money to get the fish for me. Ah, senior wife, don't bother our husband. I will get you all you need. Have you forgotten that I am the beloved daughter of Fese Kere? Never mind, I will soon be back with the fish and some stockfish. Oboroko. She catwalked out of the place. Akodia was happy that Agnes did not mock Ma. She was expecting a very acidic reaction from her, but it never came. That means Mma will have a good acceptance from other women whenever they visited. It wasn't long when Lolo Obanwese, the chairwoman of Christian Women Organization in St. Francis Catholic Parish, Umeze, came visiting in the company of her executives. Akodia was the former chairman who handed over to the current chairman. They expressed shock that Akodia could still bear a child at her old age. They called the child a special child that came when she wasn't expected. This child is special in physical appearance and in the circumstance of her death. Lolo observed that Akodia's countenance has changed. I don't really know what you mean by special in physical appearance. I hope you are not ridiculing my baby. Akodia quickly responded. Ah, no. What can I ridicule God's creation? I am only saying that she looked different in the way God created her. I am not judging the baby's beauty, but her difference. Come to think of it, this baby belonged to those children we call mistakes. Mistakes? Nobody should call my baby a mistake. I won't take that from anyone. Akudia was furious. Don't overreact when they say that, because children like her appear from nowhere when a couple had concluded childbirth and enjoying themselves without thinking of having children again. Akodian shook her head. Imagine you in a menopause stage getting pregnant. Your last child is 12 years old than this baby. Some people, we call them mistakes because they were uninvited, and most of them are special children in terms of appearance and nature. So don't get angry that I call your baby special child because she's really special. You never can tell why she looked different from her other children and from you in this way. I understand, but her physical look makes me sad. We have never had this type of child in my lineage, and even in her father's lineage. Akudia looked sad. Why are you sounding this way? If I were you, I would give her a special name, a special care, and a special love. Lolo began to encourage her. I am trying to do that. It hasn't been so easy at all. Everything appears strange to me, and I am yet to come to terms with her nature. Akudia asked solemnly, have you forgotten that Ijoma, my last daughter, came after 14 years I had my last son? She just came when we had concluded bed, and she looked different, quite ugly, unlike her siblings. My husband was sad because we later found the reason for her nature. How? What happened? Akudia cut in. We found out that she was affected by the herbs I took when I found out that I was pregnant. Madam Ngozeka, the herbalist from Munomo, Madam Ngozika, the herbalist from Munomo, explained to us that some herbs could deform babies if taken in excess, and I recall then that I suffered arthritis and was on the herbal medication for long. When my baby was eventually born, her head was bloated, and I almost nearly threw her away. But my husband advised that I should show love to that baby. Oh, now I understand what happened. I never knew that I was pregnant until I took ill. It was when Ezewani was consulted that she confirmed it and began giving me herbs to cure the malaria and return the baby. Now I know what affected my baby. No wonder. I will also confront Ezewani to confirm this fact. There is no harm in asking her to confirm what I told you. Has she visited you since you delivered your baby? No, we have not told her. Then tell your husband to send for her. She could be able to confirm what I told you and probably tell you how to handle your baby. I will do just what you told me to my husband as soon as he returns from hunting this evening. Let me also tell you that this your baby will be the blessing you never had. She will belong, she is your only daughter, and she came out a special time like this. My daughter Ijeoma is the most productive and caring child I have had today. She's married to a lawyer and she has three beautiful children. Unlike her siblings, she has never allowed me and my husband to go hungry. By this time, Akodia's anger mixed with anxiety that raided, she adjusted her seat to really grasp what Lolo was narrating and began to see the baby as a new hope. We'll continue with this story very soon. Please don't forget to drop your comments, your suggestions, whatever inspires you in this story. We are going to continue from the chapter 6 of this story. So far, we have read from chapter 1 to chapter 5. It's a story about MMASINACHI. Tell us what you feel. If you think that there is something missing out in this story, use the comment section to drop your comment. Feel free to share it with others. Let's know your own perspective and your own comments. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to check back and please subscribe to our channel so that you will get notification about the continuation of this story and other topics that will be coming up with. I am Prisca Nwokorie, reaching to you in a moment with Sister Prisca. Thanks for your time.